And I don't believe
Ukraine needs that money, moron.
Yeah,
Ukraine does need that money. Look, I'll tell you what, those brave Ukrainians need every dime that we can squeeze out to give them. I love it. I out of my own pocket, whatever, I wish that it's been fun watching the Ukraine war this week. It's been a good week. Lots of really good drone footage. I saw one that really upset me though. They blew this Russian's face off and he was still alive, choking on his own blood. And you could see his like caved in face because the camera was so good, because the grenade had just blown up right here.
Wow.
And it was just, and his friends are like, like looking at him. And again, his face is just pulp, but he's still alive. And I don't understand why they're not shooting him, for one
Funnier.
thing. True. The bit's not over yet.
Yeah.
But it was one of the worst things I've seen from that war so far. But the stuff that I've enjoyed is the body cam stuff. These guys are
warfare.
I watched. It's like paintball shit. I watched like 8 Ukrainians run up on a Russian who was down in a trench, and the Russian is like, "Fuck!" throws his hands up, and the guy takes his AK and puts it kind of next to the Russian's head and goes bop bop bop, and like the sound like discombobulates him. He gives him a left-handed punch in the mouth. The Russian goes, ugh, and then somebody grabs the Russian and drags him away. And then they keep pushing forward with their fucking rifles and shit, looking for more. It was so cool. It was like something out of a movie because the camera is so, it's a GoPro. I can see the expression on this Russian's face. He's punching distance away from the camera. Like the camera guy, man, pops him one.
That's a good one. I didn't see it. I watched the war updates every single day. Every single day I watch how the front lines move. And it's mostly like pro-Ukrainian sources, which makes me not fully trust it, as you shouldn't. But they seem to be like they predicted Bakhmut would fall weeks ago. So it's not like unrealistically positive news, but it does put a sort of pro-Ukrainian slant on it. And they've just been losing lately. And by losing, say that again.
The Russians are calling up 500,000 men, 1,800 tanks, and a cadre of helicopters and planes. They're about to make a very big push.
The Russians are.
The Russians are. The war is about to go into its next spring phase. Any day now, there's going to be a big thing popping off. I saw today that the Russians shot a lot of ballistic missiles, including maybe 8 or 10 hypersonic missiles and like 70 drones. Like there was a lot of like striking today from the Russians. But yeah, the war is about to ramp up again in the spring now that it's warming up, and
for the past
the treaded vehicles can move.
Kyle might know this, but for the past couple of weeks, there's been almost a stalemate in Bakhmut. It seems like every day the Russians take another like 100 meters, which isn't a lot, and they're paying very dearly for it. They lost 134 like armored vehicles and tanks in one day. Like they're just getting wrecked,
slaughtered.
But then they take 100 meters and it's just like crawl. And this is how Russians win wars, by the way. Like in World War II, if you look at who died, the Russians died more than anybody else. Yet there's no Nazis in Russia. This is how they win wars. So I'm watching this and I'm like, is this going well or not? I can't tell. It's great that 134 tanks.
Well,
I'm pro-Ukrainian on this. Like, are they going to get the Russians?
What do you mean by
pro-Ukraine?
Russia? What do you want? What's your ideal win? Like, what do you mean when you say pro-Ukraine? Because I'm pro-Ukraine. Like, you guys should have surrendered on day one and just given them those little areas and said, like, okay,
not me. I'm like, get the fuck out of Ukraine all the way, and Crimea, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So, what's the win condition that people?
I'm not looking. I'm not letting. I don't want Putin to build a new USSR. There's eventually going to be a peace, and he's going to keep. Here's 2 outcomes that I see. He's probably going to die, and then who knows how much territory where the lines get redrawn at. But if Putin makes a peace, he'll keep enough that he can see. We took it back. See, we won. But if it's going to depend how this spring goes. I completely disagree. The Ukrainian military budget surpasses the Russian military budget. They don't seem to be having a big manpower problem, and the support keeps ramping up, like the degree of support. It's not like every day, oh, we'll give you more money today. It's like every day they're like, all right, we'll give you this new thing on the tech tree. If this was a video game, they're giving special abilities to the Ukrainians every week, like new ones. Now they have JDAMs. Now they have 500-pound bombs that strike from extreme ranges, and just I saw them hit a Russian ammo depot with the first J. They were like, "This is the first confirmed use of the JDAM," and it's basically like a big bomb with wings. and they blew. It was a gigantic explosion.
When
it's the
was
kind of thing
this? Was this about a week ago?
This week. Roughly, yeah.
I might have seen this too, but I didn't know it was a JDAM.
Yeah. No, the Ukrainians are going to win this war. They're going to kill so many Russians. The United States is not
what do you
going
mean
to
by
allow.
Win? I'm sorry to ask that again. When you say Ukraine's going to win,
I don't think
win.
I don't think the Russians are going to take very much territory than they have right now. They may even lose territory, but they're not going to.
Russia's going to lose territory. What about Donbass and Luhansk? You think they're going to be independent?
I don't know exactly where those regions are, but if those are the ones they already possess,
well, the Donbass and Luhansk, they've wanted to be independent or part of Russia for ever since the Soviet Union broke up, and Ukraine's been brutalizing the people who live there ever since.
The traitors.
Yeah, the traitor.
Yeah, it'd be like if the Confederacy was trying to fucking do something with Cuba, and the Cuba's supporting them.
Yeah,
and
some of us
South
are still pro-Confederacy, as it turns out.
Thank you, Zach.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, those guys. So those guys are getting bombed mercilessly by Zelensky and his globo homo agenda that he's hammering them with. Do you think they deserve to be independent or not? Like, do you think those two areas deserve to be their own states or not?
I don't think it matters what I think, because I don't know anything about those two areas. But the realities of this war, I think, are that those areas are likely to, in some part, be Russian and some part be Ukrainian. They're going to have to split that shit up. But what I don't think is going to happen is they're going to take all that shit, take Kiev, like conquer Ukraine, push the lines to Poland. That ain't happening. If you want to see, the scary thing is Putin's already lost, and the West is trying to let him save face, but he keeps pushing. And he's pushing toward an eventuality where the West has to push back. And then it's scary because maybe he loses too much face and he uses a nuclear weapon of some kind.
Yeah.
Before
Which city would you like him to nuke?
Well, he would shoot one right here on this map is where the nuke would go. But I'm not. A couple of weeks ago, Putin had a big speech, and part of the speech was supposed to be him touting that today we tested an ICBM. He couldn't put it in the speech. It had to be removed because they tried and failed to launch one of their ICBMs. It didn't work. They're going to test an ICBM, and when they fired one up that I'm sure they handpicked, that one's shiny.
Yeah,
it didn't fucking work. I bet our shit is taken care of. You know what I mean? Like I'm not afraid of Russia, and I don't think we should be afraid of Russia. I think Russia's a third-rate power. We should focus on China, and I think with our pocketbook, and our left hand, we can destroy Russia, but we need to be looking over toward China.
Wait, why do you want to destroy China? Why do you want to destroy either of them?
I don't want to destroy either of them. I want that war to stop though, because that's messing up the whole global economy and supply chains, and war's no good. But Putin seems like an evil guy, and I don't like him winning. And he started a war.
Yeah, he invaded another country. Fuck him. Let him. Well,
he's defending those Luhansk and Donbass areas.
They said they're dependent. Hero.
Yeah, they said we don't want to be part of Ukraine because Ukraine's fucked. It's like one of the most corrupt governments on the fucking planet. We're gonna be our own thing. We're tired of dealing with you guys. We want to be independent. And then Putin said, "Okay, well, I mean, it's like the same thing that the French did for us when we said we're independent from England. They said the French sent the army in to defend us." That's what the special military operation was. I guess maybe he invaded. You want to say he invaded Ukraine, but I mean, I don't know. Seems like a lot of work to take over a country that doesn't want to be ruled. Like those guys, those two areas want to be Russian. They're always saying like, well, yeah, we want to be Russian. We're all Russian. We all grew up in the USSR area. We were all born in like the 70s. We want to be back in Russia. We fucking hate this shit. We don't want this idiot and like Biden running the country. We want to go back with Russia. I don't know. I think you just give them the states and say, yeah, fuck it, have fun. Have a good time.
We'll see. I don't know that Ukraine's as corrupt as you're making out to be. I know that it was. Before Zelensky was president, and now I think it's on the upswing. What do I base this on? I mean, how can we know? How can either of us know really for sure? But that's what they say in the news, that with the new president, he's a better
Zelensky
man.
was in the Pandora Papers, where he's got like all of his finances were through Panamanian foundations, where he's got like hundreds of millions of dollars stashed. It didn't get a lot of coverage because it's confusing, but he's he's being funded by outrageously by the West to run that coup government. They have.
I've never heard of anything like that, but it doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means, like you said, it hasn't been covered enough.
Yeah. How did you like Afghanistan? Did you like the way that turned out?
I'm a huge fan. Afghanistan was a blast. No, I didn't. That didn't turn out well. We did a lot differently though, and it doesn't mean all wars have to be Afghanistan.
Vietnam, Afghanistan. I mean, I don't really care. Like,
you're picking ones that Americans went into directly. The Yugoslavia one worked out better, where we just supported someone else. And
who'd we support there?
The Croatians and I guess everybody but the Serbians. I think we enforced a no-fly zone to make it
the Bosnians, right?
Wrecked as it would have been otherwise.
Bosnia Herzegovina. Yeah,
that's too long of a country name. I don't like it.
It is.
Yeah, and it's such a small country. Do you ever see it on the map? And it's like Poland and then Bosnia Herzegovina. Like they can't even fit it in there. You can get it together, Bosnia. Come on. There's nothing funnier on like from a geographical perspective on the planet than Croatia's coast. There's no bigger fuck you on earth than the Croatian coastline, and it's hilarious. Are you familiar with this coastline, Dick?
No.
Zach, pull up a picture of Croatian coastlines and you can see how they just took every bit of good real estate. It is the most fuck you border. And look, they give them a little sliver so you can go to the one Bosnian beach.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh my
Croatia
God.
And you know what? And now that Croatia, they're getting all that sun, tiny little country, one of the best soccer teams.
You can tell Montenegro did not put up with their shit.
Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
You think they're like, you guys wouldn't even know what to do if
you guys wouldn't even know
over there. It sucks. It's horrible. It's a big pain in the ass to deal with.
Damn, Slovenia. Home of Melania Trump, former first lady.
Ooh.
Right? I think.
Yes.
It's not super obvious in this map because it's small, but Croatia does have a little bit of land there. And you can see, like, militarily, it'd be so easy to defeat them with all the Croatia that they own around it.
Yeah.
If they wanted to stop Bosnia from shipping, it would be easy.
It's my understanding that this little region, like, everyone's very jelly of Croatia because I think it's like the nicest one of these countries. Or I don't know. Isn't Montenegro? Don't they do racing there?
I don't fucking know, man.
Isn't there like a big car race in Montenegro or something?
Those are those asshole countries. You know, we don't know anything about Macedonians.
Yeah.
Macedonians. Isn't
what do they even do there?
They really Macedonian?
Yeah.
Isn't that like what Alexander the Great was?
No.
Yes. Yes. Yes, it was. I don't think they're.
Kyle says no. I'm going with it.
That's where the bad guys in Taken are from.